Good morning, my dear students of class 8, and today we will be having chemistry, in which already you have done the preparation of hydrogen, but few have doubt in the chemical properties of hydrogen. So before going to the chemical properties of hydrogen, you must be very clear that when hydrogen donates an electron, then what happens? We know that in hydrogen we don't have neutron, so you must keep it in your mind. So suppose when hydrogen it donates one electron, then it becomes what? It becomes cation. So since it already has, this cation already has, in this there is no electron, only one proton is there, there is no neutron. So hydrogen ion is also said to be a proton. My dear, remember this for your higher studies, and with the help of this there are a lot of chemical properties in future you are going to read out about this. But right now in your syllabus, what are there, we will try to read out. One thing more I want to say you that hydrogen reacts with both metals as well as non-metals. Let us see how does it reacts and what happens when it reacts with metals and non-metals. Now you have already come through this. Now the very first thing which you have to mind it, that is number one, hydrogen in H2 doesn't affect any litmus paper, but hydrogen as an ion, it reacts with blue litmus paper and changes its colors to red. This is the very first and foremost property of hydrogen. You must know it in your class 8 level. I am going to write down few more things on the board. Try to understand. I will make you understand how those things are going on. So the very first thing we are going to read about reaction with metals. So before reaction with metals, first we have to know what is metal. On the electronic basis, we can say metals means they always donate electron and force the other side to accept electrons. In the same way, when hydrogen reacts with metals, that means what? Metals has a tendency, as I said you, so it forces hydrogen to accept electron. So forming what? Forming ionic hydrides. So, or we can say it's the metallic hydride. I'm going to write down one example of it. Let us take calcium. So when calcium reacts with hydrogen, it forms calcium hydride. So number one, already I explained you, try to note down that point from my video. Number two, the reaction of that one will be, here it is calcium, we know the valence of calcium is 2, and hydrogen, when it reacts, it forms calcium hydride. Valency of hydrogen is 1, so we get calcium hydride. Already we have read regarding the reaction with metals with hydrogen. Now we will try to find it out, the reaction with non-metals. Let us go with the reaction with non-metals. So when hydrogen reacts with non-metals, especially with the halogen groups, so it readily reacts with fluorine and chlorine, forming hydrogen fluoride and forming hydrogen chloride. But less gets combined with the afterwards, whatever the halogen groups is there after chlorine, bromine and iodine, it is less. One more thing we must know, that when hydrogen gets reacted with oxygen, it forms water. I'll show you on the board how to write the equation. As well as when hydrogen reacts with carbon, in class 10 you are going to read it about it. When hydrogen reacts with carbon, it forms hydrocarbons. That also I am going to write down the equation on the board. But for most One more equation is there. What happens when hydrogen reacts with nitrogen? This is a very important equation I am going to make you understand. Since when hydrogen reacts with nitrogen, it forms ammonia. We all know that one. But how does this ammonia gets formed? Under what are the conditions? The conditions are there. Number one, a high temperature is required. It's around 450 degree. And number two, catalyst is used, and the name of the catalyst is iron. So with help of these two, we can prepare ammonia gas. So I am going to put it on the equation. Number one, the equation was nitrogen, we know that N2, plus hydrogen gives NH3. So let us write here 2, that means 3 to 6, right over here 3, and here around 400 to 450 degree Celsius, and here the catalyst is used as iron. So this equation is very important reaction. So this is number one. You must know this equation. So already I have mentioned you this equation. Another, when it reacts with sulfur at near about 450 degrees Celsius, you have to mention in exam this temperature you have to mention. Then provides hydrogen sulfide. When it reacts with oxygen, combines with oxygen, forms water. With fluorine, means with halogens, when it combines, it forms hydrogen fluoride or respective fluorides. And when it reacts with carbon, forms hydrocarbon, that is H2 plus C gives CH4. This is methane. This is a hydrocarbon. Now, with reaction with non-metals also we have studied. Reaction with metals also we have studied. My dear, now we'll try to understand oxidation and reduction. Oxidation means what we say in terms of losing or gaining electrons. We can say in terms of this, we can say any atom or ion, when it loses electron, then it is said to be oxidation, and vice versa, it will be the reverse for the reduction. When an atom or ion gains electron, then the process is said to be reduction. So now we are going to read it about the, in terms of oxygen and hydrogen, what we can say, adding up of oxygen or removal of hydrogen or adding of hydrogen, we can also derive oxidation and reduction. I'll write down the definition with respect to that, just watch it out. The oxidation and reduction reaction, and we should know that hydrogen is a good reducing agent. Why it is a good reducing agent? Because when it reacts with different metallic oxides, okay, it forms various oxides, it removes the oxygen from the metallic oxides. So hydrogen is also called a good reducing agent. Now we have to understand that how to test hydrogen. So in generally we can test hydrogen by using flame test. That means what? In this test what happens when hydrogen gets in contact with oxygen, it produces it's a flame test in which it produces hydrogen oxide. But in laboratory, when there is a hydrogen in the test tube, in laboratory what we can see is we can bring a splinted and keep just near the mouth of the test tube, then we can hear a pop sound. That hearing the pop sound, it suggests us that in the test tube the gas which is evolved is hydrogen gas. Thank you.